I think that a lot of people on spiritual paths, they kind of set themselves the task of loving God. That's an important part of many spiritual paths. And I think that one of the places, we've had probably hundreds, if not thousands of people as clients in our seminars and in our practice about who have been on spiritual paths and have struggled in those paths. And one of the big problems that spiritual paths can sometimes bring to light is that if you love God as kind of an idealized being, that almost automatically means that you're hating the unideal part of yourself. And so if you project loving God as an ideal being, you overlook loving yourself as an unideal being. And in a sense, you're trying to shame yourself out of existence in there. And it just never works. And so I think the important thing is to be God to yourself first, which is to love yourself unconditionally for whoever you are and whatever you are. And that, to me, I had to do it that way before I actually got a glimmer of what really loving the divine is all about. I never could force myself to love the divine until I found that love for my own flaws and my own unideal aspects. And then I suddenly began to feel a loving connection with the divine.
So the God within and the God without is really an aspect of unconditional love. And I've heard you say that we're really love walking around, covered by skin, that and that what I experience God nature as the expression of love, and that the more that I express love and authenticity, that I'm actually becoming the expression of the divine walking around, and recognize that then in other people, and can inspire and spark that kind of expression with others.
Human beings are great problem solvers. We love a problem. But many of us, including myself, locked into the wrong problem. The problem was, how much pain could I tolerate without flinching, or how stoic could I, how long could I go without ever sharing an emotion with another human being? Problems like that are not very much fun to solve. And so once we assigned ourselves the right problem, of how to let ourselves really enjoy more and more positive energy, that was really huge. And then when we put on this commitment to ending blame and criticism, that was really sped up things enormously. Because if you want to find out just how critical human beings are, make a commitment sometime to ending criticism. And it took us about probably 2 or 3 years to really make good on it. But the payoff is great, because for the past 10 or 15 years, neither one of us have spoken a word of blame or criticism to the other. And the result of all that is a huge amount of positive energy frees up to get lots of other stuff done.
Well, and a huge amount of time, and also free thought space and free energy, so that then the issue becomes, what do I want to do with all of this free time? That it's not locked into a power struggle or trying to control you or trying to improve you. And one thing that I wanted to mention that was so important, I think, in particularly in our early years, is that for a long time it would look like, if I were having a problem with you, it would really look like it was you.
It was my fault.
It was your fault, or some
Sorry about
way
that. That's the same way it would look to me too.
And then loving myself for feeling alone, and then all of those different layers of loving myself until I really felt, well, I'm lovable. I'm lovable just the way I am. And so using those opportunities as a springboard to loving myself more deeply, then things changed. And I noticed that as soon as I really started loving myself, you weren't as drawn to criticize me. There was this really magical thing that occurred, which and it was so simple. you know, as long as I made it really complicated about like trying to find the thing that you were really criticizing and then stop doing that so that you wouldn't criticize me, but then I would always be looking for, is he still criticizing me? That was very complicated, but just that simple move of, well, what's wanting to be loved right now? What do I need to love in me that I'm trying to get you to be different and to love about me? That changed everything.